Good evening. I'd like to call the North Augusta City Council study session for July 29th, 2024 to order. It's good to see everybody back. Y'all seem so giddy and happy and been here a couple of weeks. I was ready to go. That's great. At this time, I'll turn it over to our city administrator, Ms. Jim Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As per our standard practice, I'll go through the agenda for next week. Then we'll have department details from our directors. And then under focus items, under Mayor's Matters, there's three separate topics. One under economic development, which is the quarterly Riverside Village update that Linda Williamson will be giving. Parks and Recreation will be giving an update on the Greenway maintenance plan. And then I'll be giving a proxy update, if you will, on the boat dock from R.D. Brown based on the conversations I had with him today. So with that, I think we can go ahead and move into the agenda review. I would call to your attention that we have our recognition of the Employee of the Quarter, not yet named, but will be by the end of the week. And then also it's coming to the end of an era, and we're losing Ginger Johnson to retirement out of our building standards within Public Works. So she's had long-standing service here to the city, and we hate to see her go, but everybody's time must come at some point, I guess. So moving into new business, we have no old business to cover. We have three items. One is under Planning and Development, ordinance number 2024-17, which is to change the corporate limits of the city of North Augusta by accepting the petition requesting annexation by the landowners and annexing plus or minus 21.87 acres of property located on 5 Notch Road and owned by Charles T. Blackson, first reading. And so in your packet, you'll see this property is just south of Mossy Creek Elementary School on 5 Notch Road. And we knew this was coming. This already has been through the Planning Commission, discussed there, and also came out in the Post and Courier as a news article as well. And so what you have before you is the details on the development. If you have anything that gets into the real nitty-gritty of the weeds, I'll have Tommy Paradise come bail me out. But you've got it there showing what the actual parcel is and how that's going to be essentially touching. It actually borders the Mossy Creek Elementary School. And my understanding is they plan on putting townhomes and on that tract.
I guess this may be a Tommy question. So Charles, he's owned this for a while, and I'm trying to think back. Did he try to do something before, and was it wetlands issue? I guess what I'm saying, why is he ready to, what's happening now, even for the annexation piece?
He's ready to move forward with the project. He didn't want to come into the city until he was ready to move forward with the project. You may remember about 2 years ago, he had a tract in part, and it was zoned critical restricted. Yep. And he did a wetlands delineation on this property and that parcel as well. And so the part that wasn't part of the wetlands was rezoned to R7. And then the part that was wetlands was critical restricted. And the same on this parcel, he's had the wetlands delineated and found out that there wasn't as much usable land there than he anticipated in the beginning. And he's just been waiting till he was ready to pull the trigger on it.
Okay. And there was no issue from the Planning Commission was fine with everything. There wasn't any.
Correct.
No issues from those.
They had some questions about the wetlands and the delineation, but when they found out that had been done and he wouldn't be impacting the wetlands, they were good.
Yeah, so he's confident he can go forward and he's good on his end.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, let me bring this up one more time. I see Madison Road sitting up in there. That's the dirt road. I'd asked Kelly about getting paid for those people. Do you know where the dirt road is?
No, ma'am.
And well, let's say Mossy Creek sits here. It's right behind it. So I presume he's more to the left, or what is it?
If you're facing Mossy Creek, it's to the right.
To the right. But I noticed Madison, and that is the dirt road. So I just wondered by chance that I'm going to talk to Charles. Huh? Well, we still are in that battle, county or city, I don't think. There's something, and Tom, him and me have gone through this 100 times. But, and Kelly's sitting out here, Mobley, he said he's going to look into it. But I tell these people, don't give up. I'm going to keep fighting for them. because that is a dirt road, and I mean dirt holes that deep coming through, especially like today, it'll be horrible. So I didn't know whatever Charles is doing some way while they're out there, they might get paved that road. Because they're gonna be right at it. I mean, am I asking a bad question?
No, ma'am, but unless that road is egress for him, he's not gonna spend his money.
Okay, well, Pat Carpenter is not giving up the dirt road.
All right, thank you, Dan. All right, that's the only question I had. Anybody else?
All right, moving on to item number 7 under finance, resolution number 2024-31, authorizing a change of request of the funding purpose of the 2024 Community Promotion Fund for the disbursement of revenues from the budget tax year 2024. And so when you pass the budget, there are a number of community grants that you all do, and one of those was to the Nancy Carson Library, and you as the city council have the ability to change the usage of that money. So they had applied for one usage back during the budget season, and then based on the construction that's going on there at the Nancy Carson Library, in your packet is a letter from Gene Helmick, president of Friends of the Nancy Carson Library Foundation, asking you to consider a change to the use of those funds. It doesn't change the amount of funds, it just changes the use, and that they are looking for the ability to move forward on purchasing furniture. And so what's before you there is that request, and if you feel so moved, that's the resolution that's before you today, or next week.
Well, what was the money we give them? What is it used for anyway? I mean, I know we always.
It was for the under the resolution, their initial request for collections development materials, so books and things that they would add to the stacks. They're asking to change that from those periodicals or items that they would get, books, to furniture.
To the renovation.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, that's good.
Subject to any other questions, we'll move on to resolution number 2024-32, authorizing the city of North Augusta to purchase and install outdoor decorative lighting in the downtown area. And so I'll let JD kind of swing on this one, but as a reminder for the council, based on ARPA number 12, the final ARPA resolution we did, there were a number of items that were listed there. One was the trolley, and that is now in order. Another one was public parking, which we're working on with the mayor. And then another one was for electrical lighting through the downtown. And for those of you that went to Greenville, South Carolina for the MAC conference, or have just been up there in general, they've got in their downtown corridor there, lights in the trees. But that's larger than just throwing up some light strings. That's getting electrical components and pedestals, and Councilman Presnell was certainly helpful for us as we were looking at some research on the different options going forward. And so right now Public Works is moving forward and actually has a number of the basic pedestals installed across Georgia Avenue, and that project is ongoing. But that's not just to have power. That'll be helpful for us when we have the JOJ and for the vendors that are out there. But ultimately, this is to be able to put some things up in the trees and lights, regardless of season. And so there was a request for bids that went out. We received, one bidder, and so JD, if you want to cover from there on what's coming.
Yeah, I'd really just say ditto to what you just said. You covered pretty much all the bases, but what we're trying to do is create a pleasant atmosphere in our downtown by adding decorative lighting. It's something the mayor has talked to us about, and big shout out to Carl and the tourism team. He put together this RFP. We had a few vendors come out and do prototypes for us in the downtown area. You saw one out in front of Sheila's. We did that internally with Tom and his crew, and then this company came and did one that was out in front of Wade Hampton Park. And so we got a chance to see what this might look like before we put together the RFP. And the RFP covers everywhere from Calhoun Park, so those big trees up there in Calhoun Park, those will be lit all the way down to Clifton. So all the street trees that are in that area will have decorative lighting in them. It also augment what we do for Christmas, but also just gives us a pleasant downtown atmosphere. We're looking to have all of these projects complete by Jack-O-Lantern Jubilee. So the goal is to have no generators for our vendors, and then have some pleasant lighting for our citizens during our events.
I got a quick question. It's probably more of a Tom question. The street lights that we already have downtown. Now, once we put these in, don't want it to overpower, the nice lights that we're talking about putting in. Is there a way are those bulbs or are they fixtures? I was just wondering if it's a bulb, can we put a lower wattage to since we're going to have more light? Is that something that's possible or?
The lights were originally bulbs, high pressure sodium lights. We did do a retrofit conversion to LED bulb that have a minor level of adjustment in the color, but they're pretty much are what they are.
I would tell you my guess, and I may be absolutely wrong, but I just know, because I've mentioned this to Tom before. Currently, if you look at, especially on the Pink Dipper side, I mean, there are times at night, the third Thursday, and it gets dark, that the lamps we have really are not.
Okay.
It's dark.
Okay.
In my mind, if anything, I had a conversation. Can we brighten it? So I don't know what the illumination will come from this, but it's not going to be.
No, and that's fine. It's just something I thought about. Okay, yeah, and then
I think it's a valid point.
And the other question, I don't know, do we have those same type of lights down in Riverside Village at the little picnic area in between the hotel and the restaurants? Anybody know?
We do not. Are you talking about the kind of the gathering area in between the stadium and the hotel? Currently, that's on the plan for adding for Christmas lights. I think we're having an issue right now with there's no outlets down there, so we're gonna have to find power and go through that. We're kind of going through that exercise as we look at adding to our Christmas light display. But that is definitely on our radar.
All right, thanks.
So just any of the council's questions, that's the wrap for the agenda items, and I'm going to turn it over to Jamie, our city clerk, for department details.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First up is Finance, Linda Williamson.
Good to see you, Ms. Wilson.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Finance has just a couple updates. We'll do a Cycle 1 due date will be August 5th, and our Cycle 2 due date will be August 19th. And at this point, our utility billing has been slightly delayed, but we're expecting a mid-August start date at this time. That's all I got.
That's all that matters. Thank you. Appreciate it, Linda.
Thank you. Next up is Public Services, James Sutton.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Our sanitation collection division has reported that we're getting quite many of residential yard waste displaced out in the roadway. And over the next several weeks, we're going to be working with the customers, handing them out some educational material, doing some Facebook postings and such, asking them to put the limbs and the leaves back behind the curb so that we can keep the storm drains clear, the roads clear, so they'll be a little safer. And it'll have various information, just not directly related to the yard waste. It'll have stuff about recycling and placement of the carts and other services that we provide as well. Any questions?
Well, not a question, but the mayor and David and Dave, when we were at the Municipality Association yearly meeting, and I'm going to tell y'all, I've been on this council 31 years, first year I've ever been in my life, and it was great.
Fired up.
Yeah, I'm fired up over it. But one thing we saw when travel res around the drains, they had painted like a little picture. And that way you saw the drain, it drew attention, you know, and it was a added beauty to it also. I mean, you know, that way a lot of times you don't pay any attention to the drains. But, you know, we could get like some of our high school students. Now, I guess it'd be a lot of drains to go and paint. But it was, I did take a picture, James. I'll show you. Okay. And it really stood out on the drain. Okay.
Good. Okay.
I don't have a problem with it. Just don't ask them to paint it.
Y'all don't send me more meetings.
Yes, ma'am. Well, moving along, utility technicians will also be out testing large water meters 2 inches above at commercial places and apartment residential areas where there's multifamily units, and also replacing out the small water meters that have aged. It's reached about 20 years of life service. So that's pretty much it.
James, you may not have this answer. That's fine. You can just let us know. Do we have an idea where we are with the recycling percentage now? Has it changed?
No, so we're still running, you know, about close to 20% overall with our plant. But the numbers are getting better on our sales, our revenue.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, thank
Hey, James, I know I asked this probably a couple months ago, and I know you, but can we look at possibly having a drop off, because like on Saturdays, I know you can come up to Clay Pit Road. A lot of people don't realize that. Like this morning, I forgot to take the trash out. So now all my recycle bins are full. So a lot of times I just take it up to the county, dump up there in Belvedere, dump it there. But I know a lot of people don't know that Clay Pit Road is there, but unfortunately it's 7 to 5 more or less, and then closed on the weekends. Is it something? I know we used to have one over there behind Big Lots years and years ago. Is it possible to maybe have another drop-off location in the city that's open on weekends? Because honestly, I forget. My trash is on Monday, and I hate to take it. I'm assuming the county brings it to us anyway, though, right?
a portion, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll jump in on that one, James. So
Okay.
that's going to be that's certainly something we can have a discussion about in the 25 budget, because we can't just have an unattended recycling spot, because that's just going to be a dump. People are going to dump mattresses and all kinds of trash out there. So when you look at our neighboring counties and cities about how they do any kind of weekend recycling, it's a manned operation, and that's not currently in the 2024 budget. That would be a 2025 request, but we can certainly take that as an action item for our staff as we look at budget.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Good point.
Enough, because a lot of times people wait till the weekend to clean out their houses, and I hate to just throw that stuff in the trash. Like when I hear 20%, I'm just like, oh, that's bad. So I do want to do my part, and sometimes I feel bad. And like I say, I don't know if it's being recycled if you take it to the county or not. So I know you said some of it, so some of it may be going in the landfill. We don't know. So that was my own point on that.
Just to finish, Mr. Personnel, you can call. We'll pick you up tomorrow. We do that for all our customers. So if we missed your collection, well, your fault or not, we still do that for our customers. Okay.
Thank you, James.
Thank you. Tommy Paradise with Planning and Development.
Good evening. It's that time of the month again, and next week we're going to have the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Thank you, Tommy.
Next up is Public Safety, Chief Johnson.
Good evening. One of the important things we got coming up in public safety is we have our National Night Out next week, August 6th on Tuesday at Riverview Park. This is an opportunity for the public to come out and spend an evening with law enforcement. We'll have a large thing. There's bouncy houses, dunk tanks. They tell me that I'm going to be in the dunk tank down there, so if any one of y'all want to volunteer to be in this dunk tank, I'll appreciate a shift if you want to do it. I don't know. But also, school year started last week. School zones, we've been in them patrolling them heavy in the last week. We'll continue to do that. We just ask that everyone is patient and drives safely as they're going through these school zones until everybody gets it figured out what they're doing. And also, not listed on the agenda here, that we've just received word late this afternoon. Our ISO rating came back, which is a rating that determines on the fire departments. We are a Class 2, and after they did the rating, we maintained that Class 2. So we're glad that we were able to maintain that.
Chief.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, I had a couple people asking me about the little trailer speed sign that we've been using in neighborhoods and various areas. Is there a place either online or on the Facebook page where they can either request or check to see where it's going to be? Because I've had some people ask me, and I said, well, maybe that's if we know where it's going to be in rotation, is that, or is it just kind of on a requested basis that we're setting?
It's on a requested basis, or if there's a problem area.
All right.
If they think that there's an issue in their neighborhood, we encourage them to reach out to public safety.
Perfect.
Either way.
That's a good question, because we've had some people come to the public power hour. We've been doing that. It probably would be helpful to maybe periodically give us an update on, so we can kind of know. People say, "Oh, this road is terrible," and y'all do it and find out. What, it's not bad, right? You've had that.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay, I think that's kind of information we need to know. So whether it's however y'all want to do it to us, but I think updating us a couple times a year would be nice.
Okay.
And I know it does work
That's a good
because I think
investment.
y'all brought it out in my neighborhood when it first came out. And I mean, it was mainly construction workers and whatever, but people have slowed down. I rarely see anybody speeding through there now. So it does work.
Yes, sir.
And
Just
it
have
helps
them
that your-
contact us to get
It helps
scheduled.
that your officer sits at the top of the ramp catching them on Aiken Augusta too.
But to me, on the other hand, you don't want to let people know where they're going to be. Because if you do, then they're going to slow down. We need to, catch them if you continue. So,
Combination.
All right. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Chief.
oh, wait, Junior. I know we did. Be quiet, y'all. I know we didn't. We haven't met since the school giveaway, have we? Summerfield
No, ma'am, we
Park?
haven't had a council.
Well, that, I'm telling y'all, if there's ever been success, that was a success. The CAT, I call them the CAT team, the Community Action Team, and myself and Communigraphics, Grace Methodist, and I might have been somebody else. But we had prepared 150 book bags to give out. It was 350 to 400 people there. Oh, Pelicans. So even if they didn't get a book bag, they got a free Pelican, a hot dog. We run out of hot dogs too, though. But that, to me, the CAT team, they put it on Facebook, and that thing was blown out of the water. And you can tell that I've thanked them 10 times, but boy, was that a success in North Augusta. So
Yes, ma'am.
next year, we're going to do 500 book bags. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. Next up is Parks and Recreation, Rick Meyer.
Good evening. The Sharon Jones Amphitheater final walkthrough is in the morning, and we should be through the punch list and ready to go for Saturday. And I won't steal the thunder coming from Jim, other than to tell you that the boat dock installation is underway. And I'll leave that there. Materials for the Riverview Park Activity Center elevator modernization have been ordered by our contractor, TKE. And the timeline is approximately 28 weeks, so it will take a while to get that elevator taken care of. New chillers for the Riverview Park Activity Center scheduled to ship August 8th. The representative from McCarter Mechanical, Will Thompson, will be here this Thursday afternoon to go over the installation process with us and give us a better timeline, what all the will be required. Just to heads up that when that installation does happen, the back part of the activity center will probably close for 3 or 4 days.
All needed.
Yep. And the last thing I have, fall sports registration in progress. We have great response so far with 286 registered participants, and 50% of those have happened online with our
Wow.
direct desk
Isn't that
software.
awesome? Are you
Yes.
excited about that?
Yes.
It makes it a lot easier, doesn't it?
It really does. Our staff
Wow.
appreciates that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Good stuff.
Thank you. Next up is Carl with Tourism.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a couple quick save the dates in your calendar here. South Carolina Humanities Festival will be here Thursday, September 12th through Saturday, September 14th. It's a rotating festival around the state of South Carolina. North Augusta was approached by the South Carolina Humanities Division. It's a nonprofit state of South Carolina. And Marion Bigger and the Arts and Heritage Center is taking the lead on that festival. And activities can be centered around Arts and Heritage Center, but there's also going to be off-site activities at a Lookaway Hall, Charles Hammond House, the Sharon Jones Amphitheater, and a driving tour as well on that Saturday. We're looking forward to that. We're honored, obviously, North Augusta was selected for that festival this year. I know I've mentioned this probably half a dozen times now, 803 night, we're excited about it. Saturday evening coming up. An event partner with the Green Jackets. 4 to 5:30 is going to be a concert with Cody Webb. 5 o'clock, we're going to have a ribbon cutting for the reopening of Sharon Jones Amphitheater. And some announcements about tourism and what it means for North Augusta moving forward. And then hopefully the crowd will move over to the Green Jacket Stadium for 6:35 first pitch. It's also a fireworks night. So we're excited about that.
Thank you. Next up is Engineering and Public Works, Tom Caesar.
So yeah, I just wanted to repeat the announcement Mr. Clifford made earlier about the retirement of Ginger Johnson. Although you will have the opportunity to recognize her at the next council meeting, her last actual day of work is this Wednesday, day after tomorrow. So if you have the opportunity to stop by and see her or give her a call while she's still at work, please do. But yeah, Ginger's over 29 years of dedicated service to the city. Been one of my most dependable employees during that length of time. And she will be missed, but we wish her well.
With the growth we have had, she has truly worked. 29 years. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, and then the last one is human resources and information for the employment opportunities on the back for information. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Clifford.
Thank you. So I'm going to turn it right over to Linda Williamson, our long-serving finance director, who has not undergone a name change, to give us a quarterly update on the Riverside Village.
Okay. All right, you can go ahead and forward. Good evening. So I have finished the second quarter EMA filing, and I have got that report available on the city's website as well as the MSRB website, which can be found under North Augusta Public Facilities Corporation. Next. All right, so we have finished our 2023 audit. So I was able to update several of these slides and graphs with that audited information. The first one we've got is the assessed value of the taxable property in North Augusta. Tax year 2022, which was our fiscal year 23, saw an increase in the assessed value of about 6.2%, which was almost $8 million. And that was in the real property. Our personal property value also increased about 13.5%, which was about $6.5 million. Since we did the reassessment, was done in 2020, and the new assessment values were reflected in fiscal year 22, the value increase that we see in fiscal year 2023 is definitely due to the growth in the city. And just a side note, the growth between fiscal year 20 and fiscal year 21 was only 2.7%. Next. This is the tax rates. It's not changed since the last update. And next will be the budget, which also has not changed since the previous update. And then next we have the 10 largest taxpayers in the city. This table was updated with the conclusion of our 23 audit. The top 10 taxpayers remain the same as they were in fiscal year 22. However, there's been some movement along that scale. You'll notice Leo at Augusta, which was the Next Chapter Sweetwater LLC, which is the rental homes behind Walmart area. They moved from number 10 last year to the number 4 spot this year. So obviously that's indicative of the growth in our city. And also you'll just notice that Graybull Ironwood and Ackerman Greenstone remain in the top 5 of the taxpayers in the city. So we're glad to see that the Riverside Village parcels are still
doing well.
I lost my word. Performing well. All right, next is the tax collection record of the city. We're still trending at collecting over 99% of our taxes in the current tax year. Also just wanted to point out that fiscal year 23 was the largest collection rate we had over the past 5 years. So I just wanted to point that out and recognize the hard work of our tax clerk who has sought and got these tax payments gotten them paid on time as best as she can. Next slide is the outstanding indebtedness. This one shows the outstanding debt obligations that the city had at on December 31st of 23. The debt includes our capital lease for our vehicles and equipment, as well as the debt pertaining to Riverside Village, the public safety headquarters, and also the utility systems. All payments in 23 were made on time, and they've all reduced the balance. The city still has its 8% borrowing capacity available to it, and our legal debt margin increased from $14 million to about $15 million over this past fiscal year. All good news. This is our general obligation bond. The amounts didn't change, but we were able to confirm the audited number for 23 was correct. Next is our hospitality taxes. Again, only 1% of the 2% collected is designated for debt service. Our hospitality taxes are up $120,000 from the same quarter of 2023. This is about $1.2 million increase in that number. We're looking at about a 9.4% increase from this time last year. As you can see, we've had a 9% increase and a 10% increase over the past 2 years. So we're trending at a 9 to 10% increase per year. So, I mean, it's just all good things. Also, we have passed the financial models prediction of what we would have made this year already in the second quarter. Next is our accommodations taxes. And again, we collect 3% revenue, but even though the Crown is the only one designated for debt service, we report all accommodations tax for the city. This year, we've seen a $58,000 increase in the revenue from second quarter of last year, which is about 30% increase. 23 saw a 17% increase over 22. The True by Hilton is obviously the reason for this increase. So they are doing very well in their first 6 months of operation. And then we will continue to watch the accommodations tax numbers as the Peach Jam happened last month or a couple weeks ago. And that'll be reflected in the next quarter's update. Next. Next up, we have our tax increment revenues. Everything is in line with the previous year in 2023. We do have a bit of a decrease in TIF revenue at this point compared to last year. This is actually due to the stadium deck taxes have not been paid yet, and that's about $150,000 we're looking at, and that is, once those get paid, will be bumped up over 23. The tax TIF revenues have exceeded the projected revenue by about $600,000 already this year, so I'm not too concerned about that. The city also has paid our $350,000 payment to Aiken County per the intergovernmental agreement, and we were not required to make any additional payments to overlapping tax entities this year. Mid-assessments have all been paid, and they were paid on time. Parking revenues. Our parking revenues have increased from quarter one by about $5,000. We are receiving parking payments from the Green Jackets. We're also making the paying the parking expenses that we incur as the city. We're still in conversations with the developers and management about the parking revenue. But the hospitality accommodations and TIF revenues have far exceeded their revenue projections, so there is no concern that the parking revenue is down.
So for the council, there are some funds that are locked up that we're still, let's call it in escrow, if you will, that we're in discussion with Greenstone Ackerman about how that's going to be released and under what conditions. And I would tell you that, I'm confident we'll get our revenue from that source, so that we'll see an uptick, if you will, in the parking. But that's also a lump sum payment, and my recommendation going forward is that we're going to want to use those funds to make improvements to Riverside Village. That'll come in a subsequent study session that we'll talk about what we want to do as far as pedestrian improvements and parking improvements down there in the village itself.
Thank you. And next up is the stadium revenues. So we are seeing the small amount of admissions tax come in. That's from Q1. So we received that payment in April, which is before the Green Jackets season started. So that was those first few games prior to their season starting. So we will see probably the next round of payment in August. And so that'll be updated in the Q3 report. As you can see, the performance license fees have also increased. I don't have the numbers on that. And then the Green Jackets have paid their rent for both the retail space and the stadium. And then the corporate naming rights obviously are due at the end of the year. So we'll see that in December. But overall, the growth in the city is very evident, and we are seeing the positive results in our financial statements. That's the conclusion of my presentation.
Great job. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate all you and your team do.
Thank you, Linda. And I'm going to push it over to Rick Meyer to give us an update on the Greenway maintenance plan.
Thank you, Jim. Mayor and council, appreciate this opportunity to try to give you an inside look at the Greenway maintenance plan. Your best way to do that is to spend 3 hours on a golf cart with me, as Mayor Williams did a few weeks ago, but I'm going to do my best here to talk through it. Next slide, please. With the maintenance plan, we have routine maintenance, which is stuff we do daily and weekly, and we also have non-routine. This first page that you're looking at is our routine maintenance, and the statement I have up there is about as good as you can put it. It came out of the master Greenway plan. A well-maintained trail sends a message that the community cares about the public space. This message alone will discourage undesirable activity on the Greenway, and it works. It works on the Greenway in all of our facilities. Looking at routine maintenance, the current Greenway amphitheater crew consists of 2 employees that are dedicated to the maintenance. One is Craig Chavis, and at current we have a vacant position that we're trying to fill. Their number one duty each and every day is to provide our users with a safe, clean surface. And that comes starting off with blowing the trail Monday through Friday. The first thing Craig Chavis does, 6:30 in the morning, gets on a golf cart with a Pro-Force blower and spends 3 hours plus taking the entire Greenway trail that's connected. And when I say connected, I'm talking River Club all the way out to Mayfield Court, and includes the 1.2 loop around Riverview Park. So you're talking about 10 miles plus that he blows that Monday through Friday. During the fall, we blow that thing twice a day, because as soon as you blow it in the morning, the leaves are falling back on there. And speaking of that, one of the areas that we want to improve with this Greenway maintenance is to expand to Saturdays in the fall to try to keep that surface clean and for our visitors that come in from out of town. Also included on Tuesday and Friday, twice a week, we blow Walnut Lane. We also blow the Greenway Downtown Connector on Bluff Avenue, Tuesday and Thursday, twice a week. And our goal on the Palmetto Parkway, which is 4.7 miles, is once a week. Sometimes weather interrupts that. The number 2 item on there is Greenway restrooms. Now, they've had it easy up to now because all we've had is a soccer complex. They're fixing to add the amphitheater to that this Saturday. That one we do not clean. We are blessed that the Hammond Hills pool folks take care of that one for us. Knock on wood for me. Thank you, Pat. Yes. The third thing they do is obviously trash removal. Now, we're looking at that every day, but the plan is Monday, Wednesday, Friday to empty all the trash receptacles. Number 4 you see is the doggy waste receptacles. Check that Monday through Friday. Those actually get used as much or more as the trash receptacles. Number 5 you see is mowing of vegetation. That's every 2 weeks or as needed, and right now it's needed because of all the rain that we get. That includes parking lots exercise areas, and parts of the greenway where we have vegetation. Number 6, tree and shrub pruning as needed. In the winter, we always do a major cutback that sometimes tends to alarm our citizens, but we promise them that what we cut back will grow back. And it does rather quickly, but it's, it all goes with number 7, where you try, our goal is to try to keep a 3-foot path clear on both sides of the greenway. And in some instances, we have to use some weed control. Some spots you cannot because of relic trivium. So we're careful in taking care of that. Okay, next slide. Yes.
Quick questions. Talking about the Hammond Hill bathrooms. Now, are they going to take care of them after pool season?
That is the plan right now. Yes.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Here's a picture that you see on the right is the golf cart with the blower on it. And on the left is one of the reasons why we blow the greenway every day. If we could cut down every sweet gum tree and not have all the gum balls, we'd be in good shape. So next slide. Greenway right-of-way mowing. Here you can see what Craig and our team has to deal with when the growth is up. We use anything from a weed eater to a push mower to a ride mower. Also weed control. Next slide. Another big aspect of maintenance on the greenway is visibility at road crossings. It's imperative. The 2 examples I'm showing you here are cypress and white bark, but there are others, including Riverview Park Activity Center. This is something that we have to keep up with, so not only can the walkers, runners, bicyclists have a clear path of vision, but the vehicular traffic be able to see as well. Next slide. Now I want to show you and go through a list of non-routine maintenance that our staff does. Number 1 is trail repair, and this is as needed, and we are blessed with Tom Zeezer's Streets and Drain crew. They'll come in when roots start growing up through that asphalt and pushing the asphalt up, creating a tripping hazard. They'll come in and cut that out and put new asphalt down, and we currently budget approximately $35,000 a year to take care of these trail repairs. Number 2 is tree removal. When at all possible, our staff will take care of anything small, but we also use a contractor. Obviously, we're not trained or we do not have the equipment to handle the larger trees. Number 3 is trail replacement. As needed over the past 8 years, section 1, 2, and 3 of the greenway, that's basically from the municipal center to Pisgah, have all been repaved, and we've used grants from the Recreation Trails program that my tourism manager here is a good grant writer. Carl Waldhauer does a great job in writing grants, and we've been blessed because those are 80-20 grants to be able to do a lot of repaving of the greenway. I put on there, as you see on the Riverfront Greenway, the absolute best practice, but unfortunately is way more expensive, is to use concrete. That is what you see on the river. Should be number 4, trail signage. We clean and replace as needed, and we have some of that right now. That signage is for safety and for information for our users. The next one is trail drainage control. If you've been on the riverfront lately, and I'll show you some pictures in just a minute, we've got some wash going on from erosion, and we also have that in Knollwood going on that we're going to have to address. Amenities, benches, bollards, waste receptacles, water fountains, fences, bridges. We are very blessed with collaboration from North Augusta Ford that contributes and helps us with benches and water fountains. In fact, we have 2 water fountains now that on deck, ready to be to go in and replace some that need to be replaced. Andy Jordan's Bicycle Center has provided us with repair stations for the Greenway, and veterinary health care has bought a doggy fountain for us in the past. Those are efforts we'll continue to do with our Greenway maintenance. Revegetation, just planting new trees, new shrubs, it's really 7 and 8 there. It helps with erosion. We'll work with Roy Kibler as far as that. Also provides for wildlife habitat. If you've ever been on the Greenway in the early evening, chances are you're going to see deer and all kind of wildlife. Number 9, an area that we need to improve on is public awareness, purpose of the trail, proper use, and etiquette. We have a speed limit that's listed at 15 miles an hour. Hard to enforce. We also have a no motor vehicle. Electric bikes are becoming more and more common. More and more trails are allowing them. Those are issues that we have to address. And obviously we need to use social media, brochures, banners. Frog, Friends of the Greenway, has helped us with that in the past, and I think that's something that we're going to have to look into again in the future. Next slide. Here's an example of where the shoulder of the Greenway needs gravel to prevent tripping hazards. Those are 2 examples right there. And Mayor Williams saw this when we took our golf cart ride. You step off the edge of that Greenway and you can break an ankle. And that's something we need to come in with gravel. And if you'll shift to the next picture, Jamie, it'll show you what a proper Greenway shoulder should look like. And this is what we need to accomplish on the entire Greenway. This is the latest addition in this picture that you're looking at up to Mayfield Court. Next slide. Erosion on the riverfront that I mentioned earlier. This is real time pretty much right here what you're looking at. And again, this is where we'll be counting on the expertise from our engineer, Tom Zeeser, and property maintenance, but we've got some serious issues that we're going to have to address on the riverfront so that we don't lose that Greenway portion of it down there into the river. Yes, that is there right now. Kind of over time. Yes, it is. Okay, next slide. Greenway amenities. If you look on the left, you see a bike repair station. You see a water fountain and a doggy water fountain. Both of those particular water fountains, they're on the docket to be replaced first. Those are the Rapids parking lot. Second, you see a dog waste station, and we're putting more and more of those out on the Greenway. Next slide. Recent updates. Our in-house, our maintenance team, led by our maintenance foreman, Ben Bartley, who has a great skill set, put that new fence up, which number 1, obviously looks a lot better than the previous fence, but number 2, more importantly, there's a nice little fall off there.
Safer.
Yes, it's much safer on that portion. The right picture is just what a fresh coat of paint will do. We took some old looking trash cans and painted them black and a bench and immediately put a new look with something simple. Next slide.
Rick, one question on the Greenway amenities.
Mm-hmm.
How close is all of this? Like, and I'm sorry I don't walk the Greenway like I should, but how close, is this the only one here with the air pump?
No.
How many do we have on the?
We've got one at the activity center.
Okay.
And we have that one at the Rapids parking lot.
Okay.
Yes. And there's one that is scheduled to go down at the amphitheater. We've got a spot for that.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Here you're looking at what's on our radar for right now is both the Hammond's Ferry Bridge and the rail car bridge both need to be pressure washed and painted. So we'll put that up in front of you. That's a maintenance issue that needs to be addressed here real soon. Next slide. This is a map that we provide online and public safety, our mile marker system. On the right, you see the actual mile marker that is in the asphalt. It lets you know a spot in case of an emergency. These are located 1/10 of a mile apart. They are all the way from River Golf Club to out to Mayfield Court, we do need to add them on the Palmetto Trail. So that'll be next up there. Okay, next slide. And my last two slides are what you want your greenway to look like. The Greenway Bridge over Martintown Road, and then the latest Greenway Bridge right here at Waterworks Park. Those kind of iconic features is the way we take our greenway to the next level. Next slide. And this is an overhead drone shot. The picture doesn't look as good up there. Maybe it looks better on your screen, but you've got mulch, you've got river rock, you've got a clean, safe greenway. And this is what we want for every stretch of the greenway, to be pristine and take our greenway to the next level that everybody wants it to be. It's a jewel of a facility, and we appreciate the opportunity to be entrusted with taking care of it. Questions?
This is really good, Rick. I think we all need this because we get asked questions about, hey, when are things happening? And I just think this is the kind of resource. These first couple of pages with them is perfect.
Good.
So, anyway, it's on everybody's radar. That's good.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Real quick, I noticed like with the trash cans and stuff, and my trip to Disney, I noticed wherever there's a trash can, there's a recycling bin. So is that something maybe we could look at doing? Because I'm curious how much recyclables are actually in that trash, water bottles, things of that nature. Just a thought.
Yeah, it's a good thought. Very good thought. We have in this relook at our greenway, we've also noticed that our counters need to be repaired because our numbers aren't as fresh, and I want to give you good data when I give it to you. I mean, it's easy for me to tell you that 15 to 20,000 people a month use the greenway, and of course that varies with seasons. But my next time up here, I'll give you a more accurate number and get those counters fixed.
Thanks for your team.
Thank you.
This is good stuff. Really appreciate it.
I'll back clean up here on the boat dock update. I have no cool slides or pictures, but I can report that this morning as I was on the greenway, I saw two of your folks out there working on it, so I appreciated that. But the purpose of my walk down the greenway was to go to the boat ramp. And so in the parking lot there, the boat ramp, they had staged a number of items associated with the boat dock, the gang plank, and hardware, and then all of the portions of the boat dock are now in the water, but up at the greenway, or by the boat dock, I should say. So they haven't floated it downriver yet, fully down to the piers where it's going to be, moored, but that should be coming on later this week. So I won't be able to tell you definitively today whether that dock will be open on 803 night, but I can tell you that at least a portion of that dock is going to be affixed to the piers that are there, and so you'll at least be able to see part of the boat dock as it goes forward. We're getting daily updates now from the boat manufacturer and the engineering team. And so, again, you'll start seeing some movement, but at least we have a boat dock here in town, in the water, just not quite ready for boaters yet.
Closer and closer.
And Mr. Mayor, that's all I have from staff this evening.
Yeah, the only thing I have is I just want to reiterate the 803 night. Great. I'm excited about the concert. I'm excited about working with the Green Jackets. But what I'm really excited about is what Carl and Jen Goldman have been doing is they've put together a pretty neat video, and they're going to be we're going to show the branding moving forward of our tourism, our terminology, our logo, and then I guess they're going to do something in the study session probably next month about the website, which is going to be incredible. I'm telling you, is what we've needed. So anyway, just real excited to get as many people there because I think it's going to be real excited. And JD's we got the launcher to give out T-shirts and swag, right? JD's going to be going after it. So anyway, Ms. Pat, you got anything?
Well, this is I do have one.
Okay, I knew you.
And like I said, I attended that meeting last week that just really got me all excited. And I did take a bunch of notes on things that I think, and Britton did too, that we could do in North Augusta would not cost a lot of money, but it would entice the area, make it really exciting. So I would like sometime to meet with Jim, even Junior, and the mayor, whenever, to go over some of these things I wrote down to see if they're possible. And if you've got, I lost my picture, Britton, of for James.
Yeah, we'll get to him.
Can you send that to him and let him just see what it is? Right, around the storm drains and all.
That was a really great
Oh,
conference.
Tom, okay, okay, all right, Brother Tom.
You got any, Mr. McGee? Councilman President, are you good? All right, good. All right, thank you all for all you do.